Wait till the truck's loaded.
Well, morning, Lee. Ready for another nice, easy day in the sun?
Sure thing, Charlie. If you call spreading fertilizer on 10 acres of tomatoes an easy day.
Oh, come on, you trustees have got it made. No mortgages to pay, no taxes.
Oh, yeah. 3 hots and a cot. Paradise.
Why, sure.
6 of these things.
Easy, easy.
No trouble at all. Okay, let's get going. What the hell's going on?
Call out and you're dead, man. And keep your hands down.
You smart fella. They buried the last con who tried to break. Remember?
Look, you just climb in, man, and you remember. This is gonna be at the back of your head all the way. So you keep smiling. How about you, kid? You want to take a ride?
Pass. I'm up for parole in a couple months. Man, you could have killed him.
Paisan, let's go. You take his feet, kid. Come on, move. Looks like you're going with us after all, huh?
No, man, leave me out of it.
Look, we can't get near enough that gate. Got 2 guys up there, and I'm the wrong color. Now move it. All right, move it, baby, and take it easy.
Hopper, you gotta let me go.
Shut up. Now, Logan, now go, go! That's the road, Logan. Take it. Hopper, go get him. Get out.
Charlie. How's Charlie?
Dead. So's Logan. This one's gonna cost you, kid.
What, me? No. Wait. They forced me to do it. Hopper would have killed me if I didn't.
Come on, let's go.
Jack! What happened? I was afraid you wouldn't find where I hid the gun.
Yeah, let's go, baby.
What about Logan?
He didn't make it. Look, just don't get all worked up. Means the money's all ours now.
No! It's all over for me, don't you understand? They're calling it felony murder because they think I was in on it.
So you want to just give up? Is that it?
Mom, I can't let you go throw your money away on hiring a private detective when they got me cold.
You think you could stop feeling sorry for yourself long enough to answer a few questions?
Warden's already asked them all. Only answers I get back are like nails in a coffin. Mine.
According to your record, you provided a few of the nails.
You know how it is. Trying to hang in with the guys on the block. Next thing you know, they're knocking over a liquor store, and I get tagged for it along with the others.
He swore on his father's grave, Mr. Jones, he didn't help rob that store.
I'm not talking about how your son got into jail, Mrs. Watson. According to this, you were turned down for parole the first time 6 months ago.
In the beginning, I got into a couple of fights.
And you got too friendly with a few of the hard-timers, like Jack Hopper?
That's how I stopped getting into fights, Mr. Jones, by making friends with everybody.
Excuse me, Barnaby, here's a file you wanted on Jack Hopper.
Well, thank you, Jedediah. Oh, Miss Watson and Lee, this is Jedediah Romano Jones, my new associate.
Barnaby is also my cousin, which is why he's so formal. Most people just call me JR. Anyway, according to that, Hopper and his friend Logan were 2 years into a life sentence for an armored car heist.
Killed a driver and got away with almost $500,000.
$425,000 to be exact. Logan was always puffing his chest about it.
Yeah, since the money was not recovered, I can understand why.
Jack will be recovering it now, you betcha. Then he'll be long gone, Hopper.
Maybe if he stops to dig up all that money, it might delay him enough so the police would catch up.
Yeah. And if Jack was brought in alive, I know that he'd clear me. Only he swore that the cops would have to kill him to take him. I believe it.
Don't you see, Mr. Jones, you must find him first. Lee will probably be in here for life.
Well, that's kind of like drawing to an inside straight from a deck with only one card left in it. But I'll see what I can do.
Okay, hit it. All I want to see is elbows and tailbones. Anything above that gets shot. Come on, keep on moving. Keep your heads down. Come on, move it, move it, move it. Come on, you dummy, move. Come on, come on. Come on, move it. Okay, take 5.
Says you're expecting him, Ernie. Mr. Kilgore, I'm Herb Dorset, Vice President of Intercoast Armored Transit.
I know who you are. I looked you up. Buck, go on up there and run those guys through that again.
Right. Mr. Kilgore, I'm sort of short on knowing how to hire a
Mercenary, bounty hunter, names don't matter. Only the price. I'll raise an army or find a man if the price is right.
How does $25,000 sound?
Not enough to raise an army.
Intercoast Armored Transit will pay $25,000 to find a man.
Might be enough. Who?
The one on the right, Jack Hopper.
Your company, the one that was heisted?
That's right.
The insurance company picked up the losses. Why pay more when the police department's doing it for free?
I have a personal stake in making sure that Hopper is taken. The driver of the armored car they killed, Sean Ryan. We were the best of friends. We grew up together.
Okay. Why me? There are a lot less expensive guys you could try.
You used to be a police detective in Santa Monica. An expert in your field.
Yes, I was asked to resign. I had a built-in reputation for bringing my prisoners back dead. You want Hopper dead, is that it?
I want him removed from society.
Let's say I was to go after Hopper. You got any ideas where I'd start?
Perhaps with her. It's Darla Sanders, Hopper's girlfriend. The insurance company investigators kept a close watch on her until she quit her job at Mount Moriah Hospital and dropped out of sight about 6 months ago.
You figured she was the bank?
The bank?
The place where Hopper and Logan hid the heist money.
Oh, yes. Yes, that was a theory. Especially since the police captured them a short distance from the hospital. My personal theory is that the money might still be hidden somewhere in that hospital.
Okay. I'll get Hopper for you. I'll be in touch.
Still sounding mellow as a cello there, Woody.
Well, no. If my old ears don't deceive me, it's my main man. How's doing, Barnaby?
Good, old friend. How's business?
Fine as wine. Hey, what brings you to Boomtown? A make, a rumble, a bust?
Mate, Jack Hopper.
Oh, heavy.
Maybe this 20 will lighten the load a little bit.
Barnaby, you betting on prime. USDA prime.
You keep on like this, you're gonna turn me into a vegetarian.
It ain't that I heard so much about Hopper, but there's a woman taking care of a hurt man at the Morton Hotel down on 18th. Now, it sounds to me like it might, mind you, might be Dollar Sanders, Harper's lady. Seems she's been buying medical goods.
Thanks a lot, Woody. Be seeing you.
Barnaby, there's somebody else looking for Harper, and it ain't the cops neither.
Who?
Well, I don't know. He's a big man, tough voice. I got a cold wind from that dude. Now, you take care. You hear?
I hear you loud and clear. Thanks, Woody. Ernie Kilgore.
Well, Barnaby,
I thought you were someone else.
I hoped you were. Lucky for him.
Yes, I know your style. Shoot first and make a citizen's arrest and claim the bounty. You're one of the last of a dying breed.
Fella's got to turn a buck. Liberating merging nations. Doesn't pay the way it used to.
Who's paying you for Hopper? I didn't know there was any new bounty on him.
He's patched up and moving. So am I. See ya.
Kilgore, I need Hopper alive. He can clear my client of being in on that jailbreak and guard killing. Without Hopper, he goes to jail for life, and he's a nice young fella. Needs a break.
That's too bad. Just stay out of my way, Barnaby. You understand?
Oh, sure. And Kilgore, just you stay out of mine.
Seven inches, that's 3.5 miles.
Now, the police lost him in traffic here. And 50 minutes later, black and white spotted him here and chased him down to there.
That's about 1.5 miles.
Took him 50 minutes to get from there to there, which normally takes 5.
Well, even so, would they have had enough time to hide the money?
They didn't have it on them when they were caught.
Listen, when you fellas get down to playing pin the tail on the donkey, give me a call. Hmm?
Betty, did Lieutenant Biddle dig up anything on Hopper's girlfriend?
Only that Darla Sanders quit her job at Mount Moriah Hospital about 6 months ago and hasn't been seen since.
Mount Moriah. That's the 12th.
Well, that must be it.
Well, that seems to prove your hunch that Darla must have taken part in the robbery. Hmm?
Betty, call the personnel director at Mount Moriah. Tell him I'm coming over to talk to him.
This is the down car. I thought you said you hid the money on the roof someplace.
Anything?
No, except hanging around here, I feel like I'm catching something.
Yeah, I'm gonna check around.
It's all changed.
What?
There was a place back there where they closed up a big electrical box. I hid the money in there.
In there? Where?
They must have covered it up when they put in this wall with all these heaters.
Well, what are you gonna do? How are you gonna get it?
I don't know. All right?
Oh, young lady.
I'm checking in, Dorset. No brass ring yet. By the way, you might like to know there's a private cop who's also looking for Hopper.
Oh? Who?
Barnaby Jones. He's pretty good, too.
I wonder who he's working for.
Some con doing time. Not important. I'll be talking to you.
Here we are. Sanders Dollar Jean. Oh, I remember her now. A very nice girl. Quiet.
Are there any names on her application? Close relatives to call in case of an emergency?
Relatives? None.
Well, that alley leads to a blank wall.
Who is Darla's boss?
That would be, Allison Claymore. I'll have a page. Won't be long now, baby. Won't be long now.
What are we gonna do now? Oh, baby, let's come back tonight.
By the night, I want us to be long gone. You know where to keep the tools in this place?
Maintenance has a supply room upstairs.
All right, you go up there and get me another screwdriver, a big one.
Oh, I don't know.
Just do it, woman.
All right.
Well, what's this all about?
It has something to do with that armored truck robbery a few years ago.
You remember it?
Yeah, where the driver died? Sure, I was in emergency helping out when the police brought him in.
Do you remember somebody working for the hospital about that time named Darla Sanders?
Yes?
Now, I know it's been a long time, but do you happen to recall Anything unusual about Darla on that particular day?
Why, yes, I did.
What was it?
She came to work.
That's funny. That's the way Barnaby reacts whenever I show up in the morning.
Why did that surprise you?
Because it was her day off. I was just stepping into the basement elevator after picking up some supplies when I saw her come in.
She came to work through the basement?
Mm-hmm. It was very unusual. And when I asked her about it later, she said she sometimes used the basement door as a shortcut.
Isn't the basement door usually locked?
No, all the time.
Well, thank you, Miss Claymore. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Darla? Darla Sanders?
I'm afraid you have the wrong person. I don't want to go through that anymore.
Thank you.
I don't know, Barnaby. There's something to that. Darla gets brownie points by coming in on her day off, which just happens to be the day that Hopper and Logan are knocking off all that money.
Which the police did not find on him when they caught up with him a few blocks from here.
Basement?
It's worth a try.
You go that way.
That's it, baby. That's it. It's empty. The money's not in there.
You mean we've gone through all this for nothing?
It had to be in there.
You see what happens? Because you don't trust me? Now those guys who built the wall are probably spending it.
No. You see that? All that dust? Well, that money hasn't been in there in years.
Well, then who could have gotten it?
Only one man. And I know where he's at.
That way.
Hopper?
The guy in there is dead.
One of yours, Kilgore?
My best. All this garbage you handed me about taking Hopper alive. That's what it is, garbage. He's a dead man, Jones.
Okay, Kilgore. But don't go anyplace. I might want to talk to you again.
I'll be around till I find Hopper. Count on it.
Real sweetheart.
Yep. Bullets wouldn't melt in his mouth. But as long as he keeps it legal, there's nothing I can do. Anyway, Hopper's probably got the money and is long gone by now.
I don't think so.
Why not?
Dust, mold. Been there a long time. Hopper didn't get any money out of there because there was no money in there.
What are you thinking, a falling out among thieves?
Which thief? Logan was in jail with Hopper.
Well, if it was Hopper's girlfriend who took the money, what you hanging around here for?
You saying somebody else was in on that armored truck robbery with him?
If that's true, Hopper isn't going anywhere until he gets what he thinks is his.
Well, we're hot after Hopper now. But listen, Barnaby, Kilgore is not any better than Hopper. You watch your back.
That's what Jedediah's for.
Of course, I'd like to help all I can, Mr. Jones, but it's as I told the police who were here earlier. There isn't much I can add that they don't already know.
According to these, you were supervisor of the division at the time that the truck was robbed.
Yes. I still wake up nights in a cold sweat over it.
Did it ever occur to you that there may have been an inside man?
Yes, it did. There's no doubt the job was well planned. But everybody was cleared by the investigation. Of course, the driver wasn't available for questioning. He was dead. My hunch is he fed the information to Hopper.
Well, if your hunch is correct, then it follows that Hopper may have had to kill the driver in order to keep him quiet.
And to cut him out of his share of the split. Exactly.
There was a bounty hunter, a fellow named Kilgore, over at the hospital looking for Hopper.
Bounty hunter? I didn't know there still were such men.
Oh, yes, if the reward is high enough, people like that come out from under rocks. Did your company post a reward?
No. We got our money back from the insurance company. We have no further interest in the case.
Well, somebody certainly does. Thank you. Thank you very much for your time.
Just keep driving. You drive nice and easy, or I'm gonna scatter your brains. You keep moving straight ahead down there.
I was expecting you, Jack, but not like this.
Yeah, I bet.
Let's go to my place. We can talk.
Just keep driving, man.
What are you gonna do?
Oh, it'd almost be worth the whole 425 G's to pop you right now.
Okay, so you got a beef coming. What was I supposed to do? My share for planning the armored truck heist was 1/3.
So you stuck around the hospital till you figured out where we hid the bread and then you took it all? A partner?
What was I supposed to do? Wait till you got out of jail? That might have been never.
That was the plan, man. No split without the three of us being there.
Okay. Take it easy. I've got your share. I've been holding it for you.
No, you haven't, man. But you're gonna come up with it anyway, Dorset. Now!
What do you think? I'd keep that kind of money in a sock?
You see that alley right there? You just turn into it and stop.
Listen to reason, Jack. I need time to get my hands on that money.
Tonight, man! And Dorset, remember, I know where to find you.
Okay, Jack. Tonight you'll have it.
All right. I'll call you later at your office and let you know where to go, huh? When I get out of here, man, you beat it. Hang in there, baby. It's almost home, huh?
Hi. Well, according to this information I dug up on Herb Dorset, he lives very, very well.
How well?
Well, he earns $50,000 a year, yet he owns a $210,000 house.
Free and clear?
Mm-hmm. Mortgage was paid off 2 years ago, less than a month after the armored car robbery. And he joined the best clubs in La Jolla, Palm Springs, and he has a son in Harvard.
All of that on 50 grand a year must be a wizard in the stock market or something.
No, I checked. Oh, he plays in it, but not that much.
Well, he's sure found a gold mine someplace.
One of his armed trucks, maybe.
You think Dorset is the inside man?
If we could tie him in with hiring Kilgore, I'd bet on it.
Look, why don't I volunteer for Kilgore Soldier Fortune operation? I can dig in, I can get close to him, you know.
No, Jedediah, that would take too long, but you did give me an idea. Betty, get our bounty hunter on the phone. I'll tell you what to say.
Thank you. You know, with all this fighting that's going on, I'm afraid that people are getting a distorted view of modern Africa. There's still beauty and romance. All you have to do is look for it. Mrs. Radner.
Why don't you call me Betty? It's much less formal that way, really.
When you want something, you have to be pretty strong, don't you, Betty?
I'm sorry. It's just that I've been going crazy trying to find someone who will help me get my brother out of that awful jail in Mexico.
I'm doing something right now, but I can get him out, all right? As long as you're willing to pay the tab and don't ask any questions about how it's done.
Anything. You do realize that, I mean, it isn't as though he's done some terrible crime down there or anything like that.
Doesn't matter. Excuse me. It's my service. I'll be back in a minute.
Hi, Charlie. He's in there.
Hello, 818, you beeped?
Yes, here it is, Mr. Kilgore. A message came in just a few minutes ago to call your employer. Says it's important.
My employer? Yeah, okay. It's Kilgore. What do you want?
What do you mean? I didn't call you again.
Well, my service said my employer called. I thought it was you.
No, not me. Oh, but don't hang up. I heard from Jack Hopper a few hours ago. He called me.
He called you?
I was going to handle it myself, but he wants to turn himself in. But he's afraid of the police. He wants to meet me first, you know, be a witness.
Let's cut out the bull, Dorset. You want Harper dead, so do I. Only now it's going to cost you $100,000.
What?
I got to thinking about your personal theory and sending me to the hospital to find Harper. You couldn't have figured that unless you knew the loot was hidden there in the first place. You hoisted your own company, didn't you? 100 G's. Good deal?
All right.
Good. Where did Hopper say he'd meet you?
He didn't. He's going to call me at a phone booth in the corner of 10th and Caldwell at 4. I'm supposed to bring his share of the loot with me.
All right, you wait right there. I'll be right over.
I'm very sorry. I've got to run.
About my brother?
We'll be in touch.
Bye.
Kilgore certainly left in a hurry. What'd you find out?
A lot more than I figured. Come on, we haven't got much time. Tenth and Caldwell, there's a phone booth. Dorset has 10 minutes before Hopper's call.
Now, Barnaby, Hopper's no fool. If he sees us or anyone else following Dorset, he's not going to show himself.
I'm counting on Hopper being in the neighborhood to see if Dorset came alone. We'll concentrate on spotting Hopper. Maybe I can take him by surprise.
Yes. Yes, what now? Yes, I understand. I'll wait 5 minutes after you hang up and start for the drop point.
Yeah, you get it, Mr. Dorset.
Barnaby, there he is.
Got it. Third dead road after the bridge on the Ridge Route.
Then left 2 miles, where I tossed the money out by a tree, with a red cloth tied to it. He says he'll be watching me all the time.
I'll be a few minutes behind you. After you drive away and Hopper comes out to get the money, your problems with him are over.
Why are we stopping?
See that dirt road down there?
There's Hopper.
Yeah, and he's not going far down that road. It angles back to this one about 3 miles down the way. Call the sheriff.
Right.
That's enough. You're never gonna make it. Now toss your gun on the ground. Now.
So Dorset cried cop, huh? Okay. And he's going down with me.
That's for sure. Now let's go. Back to where you parked your car.
Look, there's a couple $100,000 in this. Let's deal.
You were set up, Hopper. Dorset hired a bounty hunter to get your head. I doubt if you'll find anything in that briefcase except some old phone books.
No! I'll take over from here. I gotta hand it to you, Barnaby. I didn't think you'd get to him first.
Just lucky, I guess. Have to be to compete with high-priced talent like you.
Praises like that could turn a fella's head. Now, why don't you just say goodbye and let me and my prisoner get out of here?
You can't afford to let me go, Kilgore. What's it gonna be? We separate a little, then you make it look like we shot each other?
Yeah, I never thought of that.
Hey, get me to a doctor. I'm hurting bad.
So's the young fella at the prison. The one you left to take the rap for the dead guard.
My prayers are answered, son.
We also got a little help from Jack Hopper and Mr. Jones.
How can we ever thank you, Mr. Jones?
The fact that the warden feels Lee's next parole hearing will be favorable is all the thanks I need.
Just got the word from Lieutenant Biddle. He says that Dorset and Kilgore are going down for conspiracy to commit murder for a start.
Well, it looks as though you're going to be the only one that's on the outside looking in.
And it's gonna stay that way. You can make book on it.
Book. Don't give the parole board any wrong ideas.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can bank on it.
There you are, Miss Glover. Just the way the judge likes it.
I think Judge Royce would starve to death if it weren't for the olives.
Linda, don't forget the Cromwells are expecting Marge and Sam Pittman.
If they're not here in 10 minutes, you take care of them. I've got a date.
Here you are, Judge. Dry as a meter maid's heart.
Well, look who's here. Dr. Manning. Lewis?
I don't believe my eyes.
Hello, Linda.
It's good to see you again, Lewis.
Join me for a drink?
I'm on duty, but when did that ever stop me?
If you still have your heart set on landing, Lewis, make your move, darling, before that barracuda cousin of yours gobbles him up.
It's hard to figure out why some guy hasn't latched onto you yet.
Oh, maybe I'm too particular. Remember the last time I said that was...
Yes, it was at Cynthia's last birthday party. It's been almost a year now. It's all right to talk about it.
Hi, stranger.
Stranger, we had lunch last week.
You didn't tell me you've been seeing Lewis.
Oh? And how about hostesses drinking on duty? Did I forget to tell you about that, too?
Ladies.
The Pittmans. Would you show them to the private room? I gotta see about dinner for the Cromwells. Now, don't you leave before I get back, okay?
Well, Lewis,
Judge Royce.
why have you been hiding? Your friends miss you.
Thanks. I haven't really been hiding. I've been keeping myself pretty busy down at the clinic.
I just want to say that Cynthia's death, well, it hasn't been easy for any of us.
Yeah.
Judge, phone call for you.
Oh, thank you. Excuse me. Hello?
Judge Royce,
Yes?
this is Cynthia. I'm back.
Who?
Cynthia, what you did was very mean, and I hate you for it.
Who is this?
What is it, Judge? You look like you just seen a ghost.
What's the matter? Oh, another one of those calls. Someone claiming to be Cynthia.
Oh, come on. It's just the work of some demented prankster.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'll say goodnight.
They just won't let us forget, will they?
I think I'd better say goodnight, too. Judge, I'll give you a ride home.
No, don't worry about it. It's just a short walk. And I am not about to let that idiot telephone caller get the best of me. Good night, Lois.
Good night, Judge.
Hi, Barnaby.
Martin? Mountain air certainly seems to agree with you.
The only thing I miss about the big city is not getting a chance to see more of you. Barnaby Jones, Claire Glover.
How do you do, ma'am? I hope by asking for this little talk isn't keeping you from doing something you want to do.
I've already told Sheriff Perry everything I know.
I know, but sometimes people can be helped in remembering something they may have overlooked.
Mr. Jones, everyone else accepts the fact that Judge Royce died of an accident. Why isn't that enough for you?
Well, I don't say that I won't arrive at the same conclusion, but that other accident on Friday got me kind of puzzled.
Friday? You talking about Dr. Anderson?
I didn't get a chance to tell you, but California Meridian Insurance has got Barnaby working on a doubleheader.
But the doctor fell while he was out hiking in the mountains. Why should there be any question about his death?
The doctor's receptionist said that he received a phone call before the accident from someone who identified themselves as Cynthia Glover.
From Cynthia?
Well, it's like I told you. The receptionist must have heard wrong, that's all.
Well, that may be so, but you can see how the whole thing would take on a very sinister complexion if Judge Royce had also received such a phone call. Now, you were one of the last people to see her alive, did she?
No. No. If she had, she would have told me.
Are you sure?
Cynthia's dead, Mr. Jones. It's been almost a year since she was lost out there on the lake.
And the year before that, she was under treatment to Dr. Anderson for an emotional disturbance.
It was a terrible thing. 2 years before, she'd been raped. Her mind, it was never the same after that.
So you petitioned the court to have her committed to a mental institution?
I had no other choice. She was my niece. I was legally responsible for her.
Yes, I understand that, but you can see where my suspicions would start to twitch when you consider that it was Dr. Anderson who testified as to her incompetence And it was Judge Royce who signed the commitment order. And now both are dead within a week.
A coincidence. That's all it is.
Claire.
Excuse me.
Is that the cousin you told me about?
Yes, Linda. Come on, you wanted to see where Judge Royce's body was found?
Hi, Claire. What brings you here?
A private detective named Jones was just out to see me. He knows Doc Anderson also got one of those calls.
What about the Judge Royce call?
Not yet. Some crackpot's trying to ruin this town. And with that detective stirring up things, he mustn't find out about that second phone call. We don't need that kind of publicity. We've got to stick together in this.
Just the way you did when you all got together and had Cynthia committed, right?
Louis, please. I know how much you love Cynthia. We all did. And I feel terrible about my part in it. But what happened is over.
What if it isn't? What if she really is alive? If she didn't drown in the lake that night?
Louis!
After all, they never did find her body.
Stop that!
Well, it could be her, couldn't it? Back after all this time to get her revenge on all of you for what you did to her.
It's not going to do any good trying to panic people with talk like that, now is it?
Been a lousy day. I think I gotta get back.
Look, we've all got to try to help each other forget.
Yeah, sure.
Why don't you come out to the lodge tonight? At 10, after we close. We could have a late dinner. Talk?
Yeah, well, if I can make it, I'll call.
Please, try, Louis.
The lifeguard position's open if you're interested.
I might consider it. If the pool is always full of as pretty young ladies as you.
You're cute. What do you want to know?
You sure I'm not twisting your arm?
Why hassle? You've been asking a lot of questions about those crazy phone calls. I figured I was next.
I only know of one phone call, the one to Dr. Anderson. Were there others?
Yes, there was another. Judge Royce took it at the lodge the night she died.
From someone who called herself Cynthia Glover?
Why don't you ask Claire? She was there.
Thanks. I'll give it another try.
Mr. Jones, the investigation coming along all right?
It would be coming along better if I'd been provided with all the available facts.
Oh?
I guess you had your own reasons for not telling me that Judge Royce received a Cynthia phone call the night she died. I'm wondering what those reasons are.
Quite simply, I wanted it hushed up to protect a lot of innocent business people, myself included, who might be hurt if it got out that some malicious prankster was trying to scare away the visitors from our resort area.
I suppose you didn't realize when I told you about Dr. Anderson's call that we are probably dealing with a homicidal maniac.
Let's not over-dramatize it, Mr. Jones. There's got to be a more rational explanation.
Excuse me, Miss Clover. They still didn't bring enough firewood. They'll make another delivery tomorrow morning. There you are. Hey.
You're not the regular driver.
He's been sick.
Wait a minute. Nelson.
Something wrong?
That driver, Nelson Mosley. He's the man who raped Cynthia.
Mr. Mosley?
Yeah.
My name's Barnaby Jones. I'm a private investigator.
Saw you at the Glover place. What do you want?
Well, a few straight answers from you might be helpful. I want to talk to you a little bit about your problems with the late Judge Royce, Dr. Anderson.
Read about it. It was in the papers 3 years ago.
Yeah, I already have. And the way I get the story, Judge Royce presided at your trial for the rape of Cynthia Glover, and Dr. Anderson was one of the chief medical witnesses against you.
Look, Jones, they're dead. My problems with them are over.
Well, maybe not. The way it's beginning to shape up, their accidents are looking more and more like murder.
Don't matter to me how they got to hell as long as they got there.
You didn't help them get there, did you?
No, that's a privilege they don't give ex-cons on parole. Look, mister, I'm busy.
I don't want to hold you up, but there is one more thing. Before they died, both the judge and Dr. Anderson reported that they had received scary phone calls from someone using the name of Cynthia Glover.
What are you trying to pull?
Well, the question is, are you trying to pull anything? Using a woman's voice to fake calls from a dead girl?
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Well, in that case, you won't mind saying where you were when the judge died and when Dr. Anderson was found at the base of the cliff?
I've been in San Diego the past week. I drove in here last night. Now, you can check that.
I will.
But you're right about me having it in for Doc Anderson and the judge. They burned me on a bum rap, and I'm glad they're dead.
Are you saying you were framed?
Like Whistler's mother. The whole mob, including Cynthia, nailed me to the wall. They couldn't believe that a fruit picker's kid could make out with the lousy princess without knocking her to the ground first. So when Cynthia cried rape and her boyfriend Lewis backed her up, well, that's all she wrote.
Lewis?
Yeah, him, the doc, the judge, all of them. 3 to 10 years, heavy time. And I would still be stamping license plates if the boss here hadn't promised the parole board I'd have a job if they let me out.
There was a Lewis Manning in the restaurant the night the judge died. Is that the boyfriend that you're referring to?
Yeah. Nowadays, he's a kid shrink at the clinic in town.
Thank you very much.
Cynthia?
Hello, Louis. It's just me.
That was a pretty dumb joke.
Don't be mad, Louis. You like my dress? I think it makes me look very pretty, don't you?
What are you trying to do, Linda? What do you want?
Isn't it obvious?
Yeah.
I just love it here, don't you, Louis? It's my magic garden where all my dreams come true.
Stop it. You know Cynthia and I used to come here all the time. What are you trying to do?
Nothing. You and your damn ghost. Cynthia's dead. Don't you understand? She's dead, and I'm alive.
I'm sorry.
Louis! Please, wait. I didn't want to say anything mean. I'm sorry, Louis. I just want you to forget Cynthia. Please, Louis. There are other girls you can love. What's this all about?
It's nothing, Claire.
Louis, you leave Louis alone. Do you hear me, Claire? You've already taken everything else that belonged to Cynthia, the rest around her inheritance.
Linda, that's enough.
No, I'm not going to let her have Louis, too. Never!
I'm sorry. About dinner tonight.
I told you, I'll call.
But Dr. Manning, they told me at the clinic that I might find you here. My name's Barnaby Jones.
Oh, yeah, the private detective.
Yes. According to Sheriff Perry, you left the lodge about the same time as Judge Royce.
That's right.
Did you notice anything unusual?
No, I offered her a ride home. She said no, so I took off.
You and Cynthia Glover were very close, weren't you?
We were going to be married.
I know about the Cynthia call to the judge.
I see. Well, if you know that already, there's nothing else to tell.
I wonder if you would mind telling me a little something about Cynthia. It's very difficult to visualize someone unless you have some sort of an image. I hear she was very beautiful.
Yes. Here, you can see for yourself. That picture was taken a couple of days before. See, Cynthia had gone to a party ahead of me, and when I arrived, I couldn't find her, so I went out looking for her. And, I found them in the garden.
Nelson Mosley?
Yeah. No, I think I would have killed him right there with my hands if I hadn't heard that scream and seen the look on her face. After a couple of days, it became very obvious that she'd been severely traumatized.
How long after that was there first talk about having her committed?
Well, it was touch and go for almost 2 years. Claire was her aunt and her closest relative. I guess she thought she was doing what was best for Cynthia.
But you didn't.
Psychology's my field, Mr. Johns. I was only a graduate student then, but I tried to convince them, to show them that it was only a temporary condition, that it was a trauma arising out of the shock of having been raped.
But Dr. Anderson didn't agree.
No, he thought she was being a menace to herself and to all the people around her. So he got Judge Royce to sign the papers. And that night, Cynthia rowed a boat out into the middle of the lake, and that was the last time anybody saw her.
The sheriff had the lake dragged, but they never found the body.
That's right. They found the boat with her sweater in it. I guess they figured that she was lost somewhere in the deep caverns of the lake bed.
Yes, I understand that's happened before. Well, thank you very much, Doctor.
Barnaby Jones' office, J.R. Jones speaking.
Jedediah, I pay you a retainer for valuable services, not one of which includes being a receptionist.
Hi, Barnaby. I was just covering for Betty so she can get her hair done. Anyway, I figure answering the phone kind of gives me the feel of the operation here.
Did Betty fill you in on the Judge Royce case?
Yeah, what's up?
Tell Betty I need the medical records of the Cynthia Glover commitment. She can find them in the Coverton County Courthouse.
You think there's a connection?
Maybe two of the principals in the decision to commit are suddenly dead, and the aunt is suddenly wealthy.
Wow. How about if Betty and I come up there and give you a hand, huh?
Don't you have a class today in corporate law?
There's got to be more to life than trying to pass a California bar, Barnaby.
Listen, little cousin, just burn one end of the candle at a time. I'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Glover Lodge. Hold on. It's for you, Miss Glover.
Is it Louis Manning?
Sounds like a woman.
I'll be right there.
We'll be with you in just a minute.
Don't forget to leave the front door unlocked for Louis.
Okay. Good night.
Hello?
It's Cynthia.
What?
But you knew I would call, didn't you, Claire?
Who's there? Who is it?
Only I could have talked to Claire one more time, just once more to tell her how sorry I am for all the mean things I said.
And you didn't see your cousin again after you ran off yesterday?
I was upset. I stayed in my apartment in town all night.
10:05, Sheriff. That's your determination of the time of death?
Well, I can't imagine any other way that Claire's watch would be broken except when she was struck by the pot. Harry, you took off for home a little after 10?
2-3 minutes at the most.
Harry told my deputy that Claire asked him to leave the front door open for you. How come he never showed up?
I got tied up at the clinic. I tried to call to beg off. There was no answer.
Harry, didn't you tell my deputy that Claire did receive a call from Louis?
No, he got it wrong. I told him there was a call that Claire thought was Mr. Manning.
What call was that?
Didn't get her name.
Her name?
Well, it sounded like a woman, I think.
Well, think harder, Harry. Was it the same voice that called Judge Royce the night she died?
Well, now, wait a minute. I didn't hear anything about a call to the judge.
Miss Glover made us promise not to say anything about it.
I'll talk to you about that later, Martin. Was it?
It could have been. Yeah, I guess maybe it was the voice of the woman calling herself Cynthia.
Well, Martin, are you beginning to contemplate the possibilities?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. If somebody is murdering these people, I'm still not going to believe that it's the work of a supernatural killer. We found this on the floor next to the body.
CLG.
Cynthia Lynn Glover.
If someone is trying to make us believe a dead girl committed those murders, they're trying awfully hard.
It's obvious. That killer planted this next to the body to throw everybody off. Just like he or she or whoever it is, pretending to be Cynthia making those calls.
they ever let scum like you back out on the streets.
Oh, listen to that. The pot cursing the kettle. Well, it's time you listened for a change.
I did listen. I listened for a day and a half in that courthouse till I wanted to throw up.
You all railroaded me! 3 years! And throw in this arm I lost in a prison fight. Now, that's what the lies Cynthia told cost me.
I was there. I saw it.
You were there at the end. You didn't see her the night she got to that party all wild-eyed, acting weird. Like she was on something. Pot, uppers, I don't know, something.
No, she didn't do any of that.
Oh, yeah? Then maybe you didn't know her like you let on. She was flying. Especially after she got me to take her into the garden.
Got you?
That's right. It wasn't me that made the first move. She said she needed air. Something else she needed. Come at me grabbing and pawing.
No!
Yes! She said I was dirt and she wanted to wallow in it. And it wasn't until you showed up that she changed. All sudden like then she's crying rape. Well, you and all the others, you didn't want to know the truth then, and you don't want to know it now. But that's the way it was. Look, man, I already put in my time. I got no reason to lie. You gotta believe me, Cynthia was out of her skull that night.
If anything comes up, why, I'll give you a call. Where are you staying?
Pineview Motel.
Harry, I want you back here at 5 o'clock.
Today?
Yes. We still have a business to run, you know.
Yes, Miss Clover. Gentlemen?
And her cousin's body's not even cold yet.
Is Linda the sole heir to Clara's estate, or do the other relatives share also?
Oh, as far as I know, she's the end of the line. Yeah. Maybe I better have one of my deputies start to do a little checking on her alibi. I'll see you.
Barnaby!
You always manage to show up in time for a free lunch, don't you?
Well, that's what you get for not paying me a halfway decent living wage. Here's the medical testimony from Cynthia Glover's commitment hearing. What's all that?
A couple of fingerprints I left it in a phone booth.
You mean you have something?
I won't know until the sheriff checks it out with the FBI.
Just any old phone booth?
No, the phone booth closest to the lodge. The bartender said that Claire received a call at the bar just before closing time. And shortly after that, she was dead.
Think it was another Cynthia call?
Well, the call would have had to been made close enough so the killer could get there in just those few minutes. Might not have been that phone booth. Might have. What do you got?
Well, some pretty depressing reading, I'm afraid. Besides Dr. Vincent Anderson's testimony, there's also some unpublished background reports from a court-appointed neurologist, a Dr. William Reston. He did a series of tests on Cynthia.
Yeah, psychological profile, full physical, Rorschach, EEG brainwave.
What is it?
Eddie, we've got to have a talk with Dr. Lewis Manning.
If you're looking for Lewis, you'll have to try the clinic.
Oh, I tried there, and they gave me this address. What time do you expect him home?
Hard to tell. Lewis keeps the apartment, but he's rarely here. He's been staying mostly at a cabin he owns up in the mountains.
How would I get there?
Out the highway, 12 miles, to the Ridgecrest turnoff. Left for another 8 miles, and there you are. Got his name on the box, can't miss.
Isn't it kind of unusual maintaining 2 homes in a community this size?
True. Lewis has cause to be eccentric. When he's out at the clinic, he's become a sort of hermit. It all started with the death of a girl he was going to marry.
I see. Well, thank you.
There's no car. And unless Mr. Manning is a long-distance jogger, we've struck out again.
Well, let's give it a try.
Must we?
Dr. Manning?
Barnaby, if we have to put in some waiting time, could we do it in the car?
Don't tell me you're afraid of the woods, Betty.
Not the woods. Just of the bears and the lions and the snakes in the woods.
Yeah, take a look at this.
What? The bars?
Yeah. Same thing down here.
Well, is there something strange about people wanting to protect themselves with barred windows?
First rule about protecting property is try not to get robbed in the first place.
Well, that sounds reasonable.
The way to do that is to make sure that any potential intruder sees that the house is very hard to break into.
Of course. The bar should be on the outside, not hidden inside.
Yeah. I think we ought to have a look inside.
Right. What's wrong?
Can't seem to make the tumblers catch.
Ah, you did it again.
No, I didn't. The door was unlocked. Oh, I see. It was broken on the inside. Doesn't quite have the Spartan look of a man living as a hermit.
Well, apparently he has found himself a lady hermit to share the lonely hours.
Betty? Cynthia Glover. It's the doctor.
You've got no right in here. Get out.
Now, take it easy, doctor. We just want to have a little talk. This is my daughter-in-law, Betty Jones.
The manager told you to try me at the clinic. You've got no right breaking in here.
We didn't exactly break in. The door lock was already broken. Now, would you like to tell me why, or would you like me to tell you?
What I would really like is for you to leave. Right now.
All right, but the sheriff will probably be interested in my theory, which includes the reason why you installed these bars the way you did, which is not to keep people out, but to lock somebody in.
I don't know what you mean.
This is a copy of the rap sheet from the file of Cynthia Glover's commitment hearing. She was apparently arrested at one time for drunken driving.
Well, they took her whole life's history. So what?
These are a couple of fingerprints I picked up in the phone booth near the lodge this morning. They match.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Those phone calls from Cynthia, she made them herself, didn't she?
No, Mosley made him. Nelson Mosley made him. He did it for revenge. That's why he came back here, to get a job at the mill so he could be close.
Won't wash, Lewis. Those fingerprints are conclusive. And if the sheriff wants more, I'm sure he can pick up hundreds here in the cabin.
No, wait a minute. You don't understand.
I think I do. A man in love with a woman, a professional psychologist who knew before anyone else that the woman's mind was not stable. He felt qualified to help her with her problem, but desperately afraid that he might lose her to some institution. I can understand that.
She's my whole life, Mr. Jones.
That night Cynthia rode out on the lake, you got there in time to save her, didn't you?
Yeah.
Then you brought her up here, caged her in, and spent all that time trying to cure her.
It was working, too. Every day she was improving. She was opening up. She was becoming more like the girl that she used to be. The one I fell in love with. And last Friday, I came home from the clinic and she'd broken through the lock.
Someone's taking the Jeep.
Cynthia.
If that was Cynthia and she was listening, she knows that Nelson Mosley's out of jail.
Cynthia!
No. You're the last one.
No, what happened wasn't my fault. I swear it wasn't.
Yes, it was. And the rest of them, too. They wanted to put me away in a place where they locked the doors forever.
Like the place Lewis locked you in?
Yes. But I got away from Lewis, didn't I?
Take it easy. Everything's gonna be all right. Just take it easy.
The only thing that kept me going all that time in prison was how much I hated her for what she did to me. How glad I was she was dead. Now, All I can feel is sorry for her.
My deputy just radioed in. They picked Lewis up. I don't know what the DA is going to charge him with yet, but that man's indirectly responsible for 3 deaths. It's incredible.
And it all could have been avoided if he hadn't tried to play God.
You think there's still a chance for Cynthia, Mr. Jones?
Well, she's in the right hands now. That's the best chance anybody can get.
Thank you.
Voice in the night. The evening air at the mountain lodge carried a crisp, quiet stillness, standard for that time of year. Yet inside the establishment, the atmosphere was alive with the gentle hum of social activity and warmth. Outside, the night settled softly over the vast pines, while inside, service went on with practiced efficiency. "There you are, Miss Glover," the staff member said, placing a carefully prepared drink onto the tray. "Just the way the judge likes it. I think Judge Royce would starve to death if it weighed on something other than olives." Linda adjusted her posture and looked over the dining area, double-checking the reservations for the evening. "Linda, don't forget the Cromwells are expecting Marge and Sam Pittman," came a reminder from nearby. "If they are not here in 10 minutes, you take care of them. I have got a date." "Here you are, Judge," Linda said warmly as she approached the table, setting down the glass with precision. Dry as a meter maid's heart. "Well, look who is here," Judge Royce remarked, glancing up with a pleased expression. "Dr. Manning." "Lewis," Linda said, her eyes brightening in pleasant surprise. "I don't believe my eyes." "Hello, Linda," Lewis Manning replied with a calm, friendly smile. "It is good to see you again, Lewis. Join me for a drink?" Linda offered, gesturing toward the seat. "I am on duty, but when did that ever stop me?" Lewis chuckled lightly, stepping closer to the group. "If you still have your heart set on landing Lewis, make your move, darling, before that barracuda cousin of yours gobbles him up," a light-hearted voice chimed in from the side. Lewis smiled modestly, shifting his weight. "It is hard to figure out why some guy has not latched onto you yet, Linda." "Maybe I am too particular," Linda replied with a soft laugh. "Remember the last time I said that was?" "Yes," Lewis nodded gently, the tone of the conversation shifting to a quieter, more respectful space. "It was at Cynthia's last birthday party. It has been almost a year now. It is all right to talk about it." "Hi, stranger," another voice interrupted gently as Claire approached the table. "Stranger?" Lewis asked with a mild grin. "We had lunch last week." "You didn't tell me you have been seeing Lewis," Claire noted with a playful raised eyebrow before turning her attention to the rest of the room. "Oh, and how about hostesses drinking on duty? Did I forget to tell you about that, too? Ladies, the Pittmans have arrived. Would you show them to the private room? I've got to see about dinner for the Cromwells. Now, don't you leave before I get back, okay?" "Hello, Lewis." "Judge Royce. Why have you been hiding? Your friends miss you." "Thanks," Lewis said quietly. "I have not really been hiding. I have been keeping myself pretty busy down at the clinic. I just want to say that Cynthia's death," Judge Royce began softly, looking at Lewis with genuine empathy. "Well, it has not been easy for any of us." "Yeah," Lewis agreed, offering a silent nod of appreciation. At that moment, a waiter approached the table with a portable receiver. "Judge, phone call for you." "Oh, thank you," Judge Royce said, taking the receiver. "Excuse me." He brought the phone to his ear with his usual calm demeanor. "Hello? Judge Royce?" The voice on the other end spoke. It was clear, deliberate, and undeniably distinct. "Yes," the judge replied. "This is Cynthia. I am back." "Who?" Judge Royce asked, his brow furrowing as the color slowly drained from his face. "Cynthia," the voice repeated calmly across the line. "What you did was very mean. And I hate you for it. Who is this?" Judge Royce demanded, his voice dropping into a tense whisper. "What is it, Judge?" Lewis asked, noticing the sudden change in the older man's posture. "You look like you have just seen a ghost. What is the matter?" "Oh, another one of those calls," Judge Royce murmured, forcing a weak laugh as he set the receiver down. "Someone claiming to be Cynthia." "Oh," Come on, Lewis said reassuringly. It is just the work of some demented prankster. Yeah, Judge Royce sighed, shaking his head to clear the chill that had settled over him. Well, I guess I will say goodnight. They just won't let us forget. Will they? Yeah, Lewis added thoughtfully. I think I had better say goodnight, too. Judge, I will give you a ride home, Lewis offered as they stepped toward the exit. No, don't worry about it, Judge Royce insisted with a wave of his hand. It is just a short walk. And I am not about to let that idiot telephone caller get the best of me. Good night, Willis. Good night, Judge, Willis called out as the judge walked out into the cool mountain night. The morning sun broke through the tall pine trees, casting long shadows across the quiet mountain road. Barnaby Jones stood near the edge of the overlook, taking in the crisp air as Martin Perry walked up beside him. Hi, Barnaby, Martin greeted him cheerfully. Martin, Barnaby acknowledged with a nod. This mountain air certainly seems to agree with you. The only thing I don't like about it is that it is so cold, Martin chuckled, rubbing his hands together. The only thing I miss about the big city is not getting a chance to see more of you. Barnaby Jones or Claire Glover? A woman's voice asked as Claire approached them, looking between the two men with polite curiosity. How do you do, ma'am? Barnaby said, tipping his hat slightly. I hope my asking for this little talk isn't keeping you from doing something you want to do. I have already told Sheriff Perry everything I know, Claire said calmly, keeping her arms folded against the morning breeze. I know, Barnaby replied smoothly, his tone conversational yet observant. But sometimes people can be helped in remembering something they may have overlooked. Mr. Jones, everyone else accepts the fact that Judge Royce died of an accident, Claire stated firmly. Why isn't that enough for you? Well, I don't say that I won't arrive at the same conclusion, Barnaby explained, stepping forward slightly, but that other accident on Friday got me kind of puzzled. Friday? Claire asked, glancing at the sheriff. You talking about Dr. Anderson? I didn't get a chance to tell you. Martin interjected gently, but California Meridian Insurance has got Barnaby working on a doubleheader. But the doctor fell while he was out hiking in the mountains, Claire pointed out. Why should there be any question about his death? The doctor's receptionist said that he received a phone call before the accident from someone who identified themselves as Cynthia Glover, Barnaby noted quietly. From Cynthia? Claire repeated, shaking her head. Well, it is like I told you. The receptionist must have heard wrong, that is all. Well, that may be so, Barnaby continued, watching her reaction closely, but you can see how the whole thing would take on a very sinister complexion if Judge Royce had also received such a phone call. Now, you were one of the last people to see her alive, did you? No, Claire said firmly. No. If she had, she would have told me. Are you sure? Barnaby asked softly. Cynthia is dead, Mr. Jones, Claire said, her voice carrying a mix of sorrow and finality. It has been almost a year since she was lost out there on the lake. And the year before that, she was under treatment to Dr. Anderson for an emotional disturbance. It was a terrible thing. 2 years before, she had been victimized. Her mind, it was never the same after that. So you petitioned the court to have her committed to a mental institution? Barnaby inquired gently. I had no other choice, Claire replied defensively. She was my niece. I was legally responsible for her. Yes, I understand that, Barnaby said with an understanding nod. But you can see where my suspicions would start to twitch when you consider that it was Dr. Anderson who testified as to her incompetence, and it was Judge Royce who signed the commitment order. And now both are dead within a week. A coincidence, Claire insisted, her jaw setting firmly. That is all it is. Claire. Excuse me, she added, turning as someone called her name. Is that the cousin you told me about? Yes, Linda, Claire said as the younger woman approached. Come on. You wanted to see where Judge Royce's body was found? Martin asked Barnaby, gesturing down the pathway. Hi, Claire, Lewis said as he met them near the lakeside path. What brings you here? A private detective named Jones was just out to see me, Claire explained, her tone laced with concern. He knows Doc Anderson also got one of those calls. What about the Judge Royce call? Lewis asked, his expression growing serious. Not yet, Claire replied quietly. Some crackpot is trying to ruin this town. And with that detective stirring up things, he must not find out about that second phone call. We don't need that kind of publicity.
We have got to stick together in this.
Just the way you all did when you got together and had Cynthia committed, right? Louis asked, a bitter edge entering his voice. Louis, please, Claire pleaded softly. I know how much you loved Cynthia. We all did. And I feel terrible about my part in it. But what happened is over. What if it isn't? Louis countered, staring out toward the deep, mist-covered water of the lake. What if she really is alive? If she didn't drown in the lake that night? Louis. Claire gasped softly. After all, they never did find her body, Louis pointed out, his voice barely above a whisper.
Stop that.
Claire commanded firmly. Well, it could be her, couldn't it? Louis insisted, looking directly at her. Back after all this time to get her revenge on all of you for what you did to her. It is not going to do any good trying to panic people with talk like that now, is it? Martin interjected calmly, putting a reassuring hand on Louis's shoulder. It has been a lousy day, Louis sighed, turning away. I think I have got to get back. Look, we have all got to try to help each other forget, Claire said softly. Yeah, sure, Louis replied absently. Why don't you come out to the lodge tonight? Claire suggested warmly. At 10, after we close. We could have a late dinner.
Talk?
Yeah, well, if I can make it, I will call, Louis offered. Please try, Louis, Claire urged as he turned to walk away. Near the resort's outdoor pool, Barnaby stood by the railing, observing the water reflecting the midday sun. A young worker paused nearby with a stack of towels. The lifeguard position is open if you are interested, Barnaby said with a dry, pleasant smile. I might consider it, the worker replied with a faint smile. It is a pool that is always full of as pretty young ladies as you. You are cute, the worker added, turning fully toward Barnaby. What do you want to know? You sure I am not twisting your arm? Barnaby asked casually. Why hassle? The worker shrugged. You have been asking a lot of questions about those crazy phone calls. I figured I was next. I only know of one phone call, the one to Dr. Anderson, Barnaby stated, leaning back against the wooden post. Were there others? Yes, there was another, the worker admitted softly. Judge Royce took it at the lodge the night she died. From someone who called herself Cynthia Glover? Barnaby pressed quietly. Why don't you ask Claire? The worker suggested. She was there. Thanks, Barnaby said with a nod. I will give it another try. As Barnaby walked back toward the main office, Claire stepped out onto the porch to meet him. Mr. Jones, she began politely. The investigation coming along all right? It would be coming along better if I had been provided with all the available facts, Barnaby replied smoothly, stopping a few feet away. All? Claire asked defensively. I guess you had your own reasons for not telling me that Judge Royce received a Cynthia phone call the night she died, Barnaby said, watching her expression closely. I am wondering what those reasons are. Quite simply, I wanted it hushed up, Claire explained without hesitation. To protect a lot of innocent business people, myself included, who might be hurt if it got out that some malicious prankster was trying to scare away the visitors from our resort area. I suppose you didn't realize when I told you about Dr. Anderson's call that we are probably dealing with a dangerous individual, Barnaby observed gravely. Let us not overdramatize it, Mr. Jones, Claire dismissed gently. There has got to be a more rational explanation. Excuse me, Ms. Glover, she added as a maintenance worker approached with a small cart. They still didn't bring enough firewood, the worker reported. They will make another delivery tomorrow morning, Claire noted. There you are, the worker said, setting down a log.
Hey.
You are not the regular driver. He has been sick, the driver replied, pulling a heavy canvas truck up to the side unloading zone. Wait a minute, Claire murmured, watching the man step down from the cab. Nelson, is something wrong? Barnaby asked quietly, noticing her sudden stiffening. That driver, Nelson Mosley, Claire whispered, her voice tight. He is the man who was involved with Cynthia years ago. Barnaby paused for a moment before stepping down the wooden stairs toward the delivery truck. Mr. Mosley? He called out calmly.
Yeah?
The man replied, turning around with a heavy wood crate in his arms. My name is Barnaby Jones. Barnaby introduced himself. I am a private investigator. Saw you at the Glover place. What do you want? Well, a few straight answers from you might be helpful, Barnaby said smoothly, resting his hands in his pockets. I want to talk to you a little bit about your problems with the late Judge Royce and Dr. Anderson. Read about it, Nelson said bluntly, setting the crate down with a thud. It was in the papers 3 years ago. Yeah, I already have, Barnaby acknowledged. And the way I get the story, Judge Royce presided at your trial regarding Cynthia Glover, and Dr. Anderson was one of the chief medical witnesses against you. Look, Jones, they are dead, Nelson said sharply, pulling off his work gloves. My problems with them are over. Well, maybe not, Barnaby noted with measured calm. The way it is beginning to shape up, their accidents are looking more and more suspicious. Don't matter to me how they got where they are as long as they got there, Nelson retorted coldly. You didn't help them get there, did you? Barnaby asked directly. No, that is a privilege they don't give ex-cons on parole, Nelson replied bitterly. Look, mister, I am busy. I don't want to hold you up, but there is one more thing, Barnaby said, holding up a finger. Before they died, both the judge and Dr. Anderson reported that they had received scary phone calls from someone using the name of Cynthia Glover. What are you trying to pull? Nelson demanded, stepping closer. The question is, are you trying to pull anything using a woman's voice or fake calls from a dead girl? Barnaby countered calmly. I don't know what the hell you are talking about, Nelson snapped. In that case, you won't mind saying where you were when the judge died and when Dr. Anderson was found at the base of the cliff? Barnaby inquired. I've been in San Diego the past week, Nelson answered without hesitation. I drove in here last night. You can check that. I will, Barnaby assured him. But you are right about me having it in for Dr. Anderson and the judge, Nelson admitted, his eyes narrowing. They burned me on a bad charge, and I am glad they are gone. Are you saying you were framed? Barnaby asked quietly. Like Whistler's mother, Nelson said with dark humor. The whole group, including Cynthia, nailed me to the wall. They couldn't believe that a fruit picker's kid could make out with the princess without knocking her to the ground first. So when Cynthia made her claims and her boyfriend Louis backed her up, well, that was all she wrote. Louis? Barnaby repeated. Yeah, him, the doc, the judge, all of them, Nelson said bitterly. 3 to 10 years, heavy time. And I would still be stamping license plates if the boss here hadn't promised the parole board I would have a job if they let me out. There was a Louis Manning in the restaurant the night the judge died, Barnaby observed. Is that the boyfriend that you are referring to? Yeah, Nelson confirmed. Nowadays, he is a counselor at the clinic in town. Thank you very much, Barnaby said, nodding politely as Nelson turned back to his truck. In a quiet, sunlit gazebo near the edge of the clinic grounds, Louis Manning sat on a wooden bench, staring blankly at the ground. The rustle of soft fabric sounded on the wooden steps behind him. Louis, a soft voice called out. Louis turned quickly, his breath catching in his throat. Cynthia? Hello, Louis, the young woman said with a sweet, gentle smile as she stepped into the light. It is just me. That was a pretty dumb joke, Louis said, his voice trembling slightly as he realized it was Linda standing before him, wearing an old-fashioned floral dress. Don't be mad, Louis, Linda coaxed, twirling slightly. You like my dress? I think it makes me look very pretty, don't you? What are you trying to do, Linda? Louis asked, rising to his feet with growing frustration. What do you want? Isn't it obvious? Linda replied softly, stepping closer. I just love it here, don't you, Louis? It is my magic garden where all my dreams come true. Stop it, Louis demanded, taking a step back. You know, Cynthia and I used to come here all the time. What are you trying to do? Nothing, Linda insisted innocently. You and your damn ghost. Louis snapped, his voice breaking with strain. Cynthia is dead. Don't you understand? She is dead. And I am alive. I am sorry, Linda whispered, her eyes filling with sudden emotion. Louis, she cried out as he turned away. I am sorry, Louis, Linda repeated, reaching out to touch his arm. I just want you to forget Cynthia. Please, Louis. There are other girls you can love. What is this all about? Claire's voice interrupted sharply as she marched into the gazebo, taking in the scene with immediate disapproval. It is nothing, Claire, Louis said quickly, wiping his brow. Louis, you leave Louis alone. Do you hear me, Claire? Linda suddenly yelled, turning her frustration on her cousin. You have already taken everything else that belonged to Cynthia, the resort and her inheritance. Linda, that is enough, Claire ordered sternly. No, I am not going to let her have Louis, too, Linda shouted, her voice ringing out through the trees. Never. I am sorry, Louis murmured quietly to Claire, shaking his head in exhaustion. About dinner tonight. I told you I will call. A short time later, Barnaby Jones walked up the steps of the municipal clinic and entered the quiet lobby. Louis Manning was standing near the front desk, sorting through a stack of patient files. Dr. Manning? Barnaby called out gently. They told me at the clinic that I might find you here. My name is Barnaby Jones. Oh, yeah, the private detective? Louis asked, setting the files down and looking up. Yes, Barnaby nodded. According to Sheriff Perry, you left the lodge about the same time as Judge Royce. That is right, Louis confirmed. Did you notice anything unusual? Barnaby asked. No, I offered her a ride home, Louis explained naturally. She said no, so I took off. You and Cynthia Glover were very close, weren't you? Barnaby inquired, leaning slightly against the wooden counter. We were going to be married, Louis stated simply, a shadow of lingering grief crossing his face. I know about the Cynthia call to the judge, Barnaby mentioned quietly. I see, Louis acknowledged. Well, if you know that already, there is nothing else to tell. I wonder if you would mind telling me a little something about Cynthia, Barnaby requested warmly. It is very difficult to visualize someone unless you have some sort of an image. I heard she was very beautiful. Yes, Louis agreed softly. He reached into his leather wallet and pulled out a small, worn photograph, handing it over to Barnaby. Here, you can see for yourself. That picture was taken a couple of days before. You see, Cynthia had gone to a party ahead of me, and when I arrived, I couldn't find her, so I went out looking for her. And, I found them in the garden. Nelson Mosley? Barnaby asked, examining the photograph. Yeah, Louis nodded grimly. You know, I think I would have done something terrible right there with my hands if I hadn't heard that scream and seen the look on her face. After a couple of days, it became very obvious that she had been severely traumatized. How long after that was her first talk about having her committed? Barnaby inquired. Oh, it was touch and go for almost 2 years, Louis recalled. Claire was her aunt and her closest relative. I guess she thought she was doing what was best for Cynthia. But you didn't, Barnaby observed. Psychology is my field, Mr. Jones, Louis explained earnestly. I was only a graduate student then, but I tried to convince them to show them that it was only a temporary condition, that it was a trauma arising out of the shock of what happened. But Dr. Anderson didn't agree. No. He thought she was being a menace to herself and to all the people around her, so he got Judge Royce to sign the papers. And that night, Cynthia rowed a boat out into the middle of the lake, and that was the last time anybody saw her. The sheriff had the lake dragged, but they never found the body. Barnaby noted quietly. That is right, Louis said softly. They found the boat with her sweater in it. I guess they figured that she was lost somewhere in the deep caverns of the lake bed. Yes, I understand that has happened before, Barnaby agreed softly. Well, thank you very much, Doctor. In Barnaby's temporary office setup, the morning sun filtered through the blinds as the telephone rang sharply. Morning, Barnaby Jones' office. J.R. Jones speaking. The voice on the line answered with energetic charm. Jedediah, Barnaby's voice came through the receiver dryly. I pay you a retainer for valuable services, not one of which includes being a receptionist. Hiya, Barnaby. J.R. laughed lightheartedly. I was just covering for Betty, so she can get her hair done. Anyway, I figured your answer on the phone kind of gives me the feel of the operation here. Did Betty fill you in on the Judge Royce case? Barnaby asked, shifting the phone to his other ear. Yeah, what is up? J.R. inquired. Tell Betty I need the medical records of the Cynthia Glover commitment, Barnaby instructed. She can find them in the Coverton County Courthouse. You think there is a connection? J.R. asked, his tone growing curious. Maybe, Barnaby replied. 2 of the principals in the decision to commit are suddenly gone, and the aunt is suddenly wealthy. Wow, J.R. marveled. How about if Betty and I come up there and give you a hand? Don't you have a class today in corporate law? Barnaby reminded him with a dry chuckle. There has got to be more to life than trying to pass a California bar exam, Barnaby, JR joked. Listen, little cousin, Barnaby said warmly, just burn one end of the candle at a time. I will talk to you later. Okay, bye, JR agreed before hanging up. At the Glover Lodge, the evening rush was coming to an end. The staff moved between tables, clearing away glasses as the phone behind the main counter began to ring. Glover Lodge, hold on. The front clerk answered into the receiver before looking around the room. It is for you, Miss Glover. Is it Lewis Manning? Claire asked, stepping up to the counter. Sounds like a woman, the clerk replied, handing over the receiver. I will be right there, Claire told a customer nearby with a polite nod. I will be with you in just a minute. She took the receiver and brought it to her ear. Hello? Don't forget to leave the front door locked for Lewis, Linda called out as she gathered her coat nearby. Okay. Good night. Hello? Claire repeated into the phone, her voice dropping as the room emptied. It is Cynthia, the voice on the line whispered softly. What? Claire gasped, her grip tightening on the receiver. Didn't you, Claire? The voice asked hauntingly. Who is there? Claire demanded, her chest heaving as fear seized her. Who is it? By morning, yellow tape sealed off the quiet back patio of the lodge. Martin Perry stood near the side entrance, taking notes as Barnaby stepped past the officers to join him. If only I could have talked to Claire one more time, Linda wept softly nearby, leaning against a chair while a staff member comforted her, just once more to tell her how sorry I am. How sorry I am for all the mean things I said. And you didn't see your cousin again after you ran off yesterday? Martin asked Linda gently, stepping over to note her response. I was upset, Linda sobbed softly, shaking her head. I stayed in my apartment in town all night. 10 minutes past 10, Sheriff, the medical examiner reported, stepping out from the inner room. That is your determination at the time of the event. Well, I can't imagine any other way that Claire's watch would be broken except when she fell against the structure. Harry? Martin called out to the resort staff worker nearby. You took off for home a little after 10? 3 minutes at the most, Harry answered nervously. Harry told my deputy that Claire asked him to leave the front door open for Lewis, Martin explained to Barnaby. How come he never showed up? I got tied up at the clinic, Lewis explained, walking up to the group with a tired, stressed expression. I tried to call to beg off. There was no answer. Harry, didn't you tell my deputy that Claire did receive a call from Lewis? Martin asked, turning back to the employee. No, he got it wrong, Harry clarified quickly, raising his hands. I told him there was a call that Claire thought was Mr. Manning. What call was that? Barnaby inquired sharply. Didn't get her name, Harry said. Her name? Martin pressed. Well, it sounded like a woman, I think, Harry recalled, scratching his head. Well, think harder, Harry, Barnaby urged calmly. Was it the same voice that called Judge Royce the night she died? Well, now, wait a minute, Martin interjected, looking confused. I didn't hear anything about a call to the judge. Miss Glover made us promise not to say anything about it, Harry explained quietly. I will talk to you about that later, Martin, Barnaby noted dryly before turning back to Harry. Was it? It could have been, Harry admitted. Yeah, I guess maybe it was the voice of the woman calling herself Cynthia. Well, Martin, Barnaby said softly, looking over at the sheriff, are you beginning to contemplate the possibilities? Well, I will tell you one thing, Martin stated firmly, adjusting his hat. If somebody is harming these people, I am still not going to believe that it is the work of a supernatural entity. We found this on the floor next to the body, an officer reported, handing a small plastic bag to Martin. It contained a silver monogrammed initial charm, CLG. Cynthia Lynn Glover, Barnaby read quietly. If someone is trying to make us believe a dead girl committed these acts, they are trying awfully hard. It is obvious, Martin deduced, looking at the charm. The perpetrator planted this next to the body to throw everybody off, just like he or she, or whoever it is pretending to be Cynthia making those calls. Later that afternoon, near the old timber yard on the edge of town, the door to a supply shed slammed open violently. Stay back, or I will smash your head, Lewis shouted, holding a heavy iron bar as he backed Nelson Mosley into the wall. "How did they ever let someone like you back out on the streets?" Lewis demanded, his eyes wide with fury. "Oh, listen to that," Nelson scoffed, wiping dust from his jacket. "The pot cursing the kettle. Well, it is time you listen for a change." "I did listen," Lewis snapped, his voice trembling with anger. "I listened for a day and a half in that courthouse till I wanted to throw up. You all railroaded me. 3 years. And throwing this arm I lost in a prison fight. Now that is what the lies Cynthia told cost me. I was there. I saw it." Lewis yelled. "You were there at the end," Nelson shouted back, stepping forward despite the iron bar. "You didn't see her the night. She got to that party all wild-eyed, acting weird. Like she was on something. Pot, uppers, I don't know, something." "No, she didn't do any of that," Lewis denied fiercely. "Oh yeah?" Nelson challenged. "Then maybe you didn't know her like you let on. She was flying, especially after she got me to take her into the garden." "Got you?" Lewis repeated, shaking his head in disbelief. "That is right," Nelson insisted firmly. "It wasn't me that made the first move. She said she needed air, or something else she needed. Came at me, grabbed at me." "No," Lewis cried out. "Yes," Nelson yelled. "She said I was dirt, and she wanted to wallow in it. And it wasn't until you showed up that she changed. All of a sudden, right then, she is crying out. Well, you and all the others, you didn't want to know the truth then, and you don't want to know it now. But that is the way it was. Look, man, I already put in my time.
I got no reason to lie.
You have got to believe me. Cynthia was completely overwhelmed that night. If anything comes up, I will give you a call." Barnaby's voice interrupted calmly as he stepped into the doorway, breaking the tension. "Where are you staying?" "Pineview Hotel," Nelson grunted, stepping past Lewis and lowering his head as he walked out. "Harry, I want you back here at 5 o'clock, Linda's voice called out from the front driveway of the lodge nearby. "Today?" Harry asked in surprise. "Yes," Linda stated coldly. "We still have a business to run, you know." "Yes, Miss Glover," Harry submitted, nodding to Barnaby as he passed. "Gentlemen. And her cousin's body is not even cold yet," Martin remarked, watching Linda walk away. "Is Linda the sole heir to Claire's estate, or do the other relatives share also?" Barnaby asked quietly. "Oh, as far as I know, she is the end of the line," Martin replied. "Yeah, maybe I had better have one of my deputies try to do a little checking on her alibi. I will see you." In Barnaby's temporary workstation, Betty set down a thick stack of legal manila folders onto the wooden desk. "You always manage to show up in time for a free lunch, don't you?" Barnaby greeted her with a warm smile. "Well, that is what you get for not paying me a halfway decent living wage," Betty teased lightheartedly, leaning against the desk. "Here is the medical testimony from Cynthia Glover's commitment hearing." "What is all that?" she asked, gesturing toward a set of cards on Barnaby's desk. "A couple of fingerprints I left in the phone booth," Barnaby explained, examining them with a magnifying glass. "You mean you have something?" Betty asked, perking up with interest. "I won't know until the sheriff checks it out with the FBI," Barnaby noted. "Just any old phone booth?" Betty inquired. "No, the phone booth closest to the lodge," Barnaby answered. "The bartender said that Claire received a call at the bar just before closing time, and shortly after that she was gone." "Think it was another Cynthia call?" Betty asked softly. "Well, the call would have had to have been made close enough so the perpetrator could get there in just those few minutes," Barnaby analyzed. "Might not have been that phone booth. Might have. What do you have there?" "Some pretty depressing reading, I am afraid," Betty said softly, opening the folder. "Besides Dr. Vincent Anderson's testimony, there are also some unpublished background reports from a court-appointed specialist, a Dr. William Reston. He did a series of tests on Cynthia. Yeah, psychological profile, full physical, brainwave scans." Barnaby read through the documents quickly, his eyes widening slightly as he processed the data. "Betty, we have got to have a talk with Dr. Lewis Manning. Let us go." A short drive later, Barnaby and Betty arrived at an apartment complex near the edge of town. An apartment manager was sweeping the hallway outside. "Hi, I am the manager," the man offered politely. "If you're looking for Lewis, you will have to try the clinic. Oh, I tried there, and they gave me this address, Barnaby explained. What time do you expect him home? Hard to tell. The manager shrugged, resting on his broom. Lewis keeps the apartment, but he is rarely here. He's been staying mostly at a cabin he owns up in the mountains. How would I get there? Barnaby asked. Out the highway, 12 miles to the bridge crest turnoff, the manager detailed smoothly. Left for another 8 miles, and there you are. Got his name on the box, can't miss. Isn't it kind of unusual maintaining 2 homes in a community this size? Betty observed thoughtfully. True, the manager agreed softly. Lewis has cause to be eccentric. When he is out of the clinic, he has become a sort of hermit. It all started with the loss of a girl he was going to marry. I see, Barnaby said gently. Thank you. The winding mountain road led up to a secluded wooden cabin surrounded by dense pine trees. Barnaby parked the vehicle along the gravel driveway, stepping out into the cool shade. Well, there is no car, Barnaby remarked, scanning the driveway. And unless Mr. Manning is a long-distance jogger, we have struck out again. Well, let us give it a try, Betty suggested softly, following him up the path. Must we? She added, looking around at the quiet, lonely woods. Dr. Manning? Barnaby called out, approaching the front porch. Barnaby, if we have to put in some waiting time, could we do it in the car? Betty asked nervously, glancing over her shoulder. Don't tell me you are afraid of the woods, Betty. Barnaby smiled gently. Not of the woods, Betty clarified with a mild smile. Just of the bears and the lions and the snakes in the woods. Here, take a look at this, Barnaby said, stopping near the heavy wooden window frame. What? The bars? Betty asked, looking closely. Yeah, Barnaby pointed out. Same thing down here. Well, is there something strange about people wanting to protect themselves with barred windows? Betty questioned. First rule about protecting property is try not to get robbed in the first place, Barnaby explained calmly. That sounds reasonable. The way to do that is to make sure that any potential intruder sees that the house is very hard to break into. Of course, the bars should be on the outside, not hidden inside. Yeah, I think we ought to have a look inside. Right, Betty agreed as Barnaby stepped up to the front door, reaching for the handle. What is wrong? Betty asked as Barnaby manipulated the latch. Can't seem to make the tumblers catch? You did it again, Barnaby noted quietly as the door clicked open. No, I didn't. The door was unlocked. Oh, I see. It was broken on the inside. Stepping inside, they found a brightly decorated, well-furnished living space, filled with soft colors, fresh flowers, and delicate personal items. Doesn't quite have the Spartan look of a man living as a hermit, Barnaby observed, looking around the room. Well, apparently he has found himself a companion to share the lonely hours, Betty remarked, gesturing toward a vanity table. Betty, Barnaby called out softly, holding up a small framed photo from the table. Cynthia Glover. Suddenly, the front door swung open violently, and Lewis Manning stood on the threshold, his face pale and distressed. It is the doctor, Betty whispered. You have got no right in here. Lewis shouted angrily, stepping into the room. Get out. Now, take it easy, doctor, Barnaby said calmly, holding up a hand in a peaceful gesture. We just want to have a little talk. This is my associate, Betty Jones. The manager told you to try me at the clinic, Lewis said defensively, his hands trembling. You have got no right breaking in here. We didn't exactly break in, Barnaby explained smoothly. The door lock was already broken. Now, would you like to tell me why, or would you like me to tell you? What I would really like is for you to leave, Lewis demanded desperately. Right now. All right, Barnaby agreed softly. The sheriff will probably be interested in my theory, which includes the reason why you installed these bars the way you did, which is not to keep people out but to lock somebody in. I don't know what you mean, Lewis stammered, looking away. This is a copy of the official record from the file of Cynthia Glover's commitment hearing, Barnaby stated, holding up a document. She was apparently involved in an incident years ago. Well, they took her whole life's history, Lewis argued, stepping back. So what? These are a couple of fingerprints I picked up in the phone booth near the lodge this morning, Barnaby continued, presenting the official match card. They match. Now, That is ridiculous, Lewis denied, shaking his head frantically. Those phone calls from Cynthia, she made them herself, didn't she? Barnaby asked directly. No, Mosley made them, Lewis claimed hastily. Nelson Mosley made them. He did it for revenge. That is why he came back here, to get a job, so he could be close. Won't wash, Lewis, Barnaby said firmly, but gently. Those fingerprints are conclusive. And if the sheriff wants more, I am sure he can pick up hundreds here in the cabin. No, no. Wait a minute, Lewis pleaded, his composure breaking completely as tears welled in his eyes. You don't understand. I think I do, Barnaby offered with genuine empathy. A man in love with a woman, a professional counselor who knew before anyone else that the woman's mind was fragile. He felt qualified to help her with her problem, but desperately afraid that he might lose her to some institution. I can understand that. She is my whole life, Mr. Jones. Lewis wept softly, leaning against the doorway. That night Cynthia rode out on the lake. You got there in time to save her, didn't you? Barnaby asked softly. Yeah, Lewis confessed, bowing his head. Then you brought her up here, kept her sheltered, and spent all that time trying to help her heal, Barnaby reconstructed gently. It was working, too, Lewis whispered, looking up with heartbroken sincerity. Every day she was improving. She was opening up. She was becoming more like the girl that she used to be, the one I fell in love with. And last Friday I came home from the clinic and, she had broken through the lock. Meanwhile, on a narrow mountain dirt road higher up the ridge, a vehicle ground to a sudden halt near an old clearing. Nelson Mosley stepped out of his truck, holding a wrench as he checked the rear tires. Suddenly, a motor roared nearby, and a lighter vehicle glided into the clearing, blocking the exit. Someone is taking the vehicle, Nelson murmured, stepping back in confusion. A young woman stepped out into the light, her eyes wide, unfocused, and burning with deep emotional distress. Cynthia? Nelson gasped, backing away in shock. Cynthia?
No.
Cynthia whimpered, stepping forward slowly. Cynthia,
Please. No.
you are the last one.
No.
What happened wasn't my fault, Nelson stammered, holding his hands up in panic. I swear it wasn't. It wasn't my fault. Yes, it was, Cynthia said, her voice dropping into a chilling, hollow calm. And the rest of them, too. They wanted to put me away in a place where they lock the doors forever. Like the place Lewis locked you in? A calm voice called out from the edge of the trees. Barnaby Jones, Martin Perry, and several officers stepped out into the clearing, moving cautiously to surround the scene. Yes, Cynthia acknowledged softly, looking toward Barnaby without surprise. But I got away from Lewis, didn't I? Take it easy, Barnaby said reassuringly, keeping his tone soft, measured, and completely non-threatening. Everything is going to be all right, miss.
Take it easy.
Nelson sank back against his truck, breathing heavily as the officers gently ushered Cynthia toward the waiting medical sedan. The only thing that kept me going all that time in prison was how much I resented her for what happened, Nelson confessed softly to Barnaby, his voice trembling with exhaustion. How glad I was she was gone. Now all I can feel is sorry for her. As the sun began to set behind the high mountain peaks, sending warm golden light through the valley, Martin Perry stepped out of the station office, joining Barnaby and Betty on the front porch. My deputy just radioed in, Martin reported, placing his hands on his belt. They picked Lewis up. I don't know what the prosecutor is going to charge him with yet, but that man is indirectly responsible for 3 severe tragedies. It is incredible. And it all could have been avoided if he hadn't tried to handle everything entirely on his own. You think there is still a chance for Cynthia, Mr. Jones? Betty asked softly, looking out toward the peaceful horizon. Well, she is in the right hands now, Barnaby replied warmly, his face reflecting a sense of quiet hope and resolution. That is the best chance anybody can get. Thank you, Betty said gently, smiling at Barnaby as they walked toward the car together.
Thank you.
Novel adaptation. Voice in the night. The crisp mountain air swept through the elevated resort town, carrying the subtle pine scent that usually promised tranquility to visiting travelers. Inside the bustling lodge, The evening atmosphere was filled with warmth, polite chatter, and the soft clinking of glassware. Linda Glover moved swiftly between the tables, managing the floor with the seasoned grace of a natural hostess. She checked the presentation of the serving tray, adjusting a garnish before presenting it to the waiting table. She remarked to her colleague that everything was prepared precisely as the judge preferred it, adding with a light-hearted smile that Judge Royce would likely starve if it were not for the olives served with every meal. Continuing her rounds, Linda reminded her fellow staff member that the Cromwell family was expecting Marge and Sam Pittman shortly. She noted that if the guests did not arrive within 10 minutes, someone would need to tend to their seating, as she had personal plans later that evening. Moments later, she delivered a freshly mixed beverage to Judge Royce, jokingly describing it as dry as the heart of a meter maid. The table chuckled warmly at the gentle humor. As Linda turned, she noticed a familiar face walking through the doorway. Dr. Lewis Manning had entered the dining room. Expressing her surprise, Linda greeted Lewis warmly, remarking that she could hardly believe her eyes and that it was wonderful to see him again. Lewis smiled softly, thanking her and mentioning that he was currently on duty, though he playfully added that duty had rarely stopped him from enjoying a quick conversation with good friends. Observing the interaction from nearby, an older patron offered a bit of friendly, humorous advice to Linda, encouraging her to make a move if she still had her heart set on landing a gentleman like Lewis before her ambitious cousin managed to charm him away. The patron chuckled softly, commenting that it was always a mystery why an eligible bachelor had not latched onto someone as lovely as Linda yet. Linda smiled modestly, replying that perhaps she was simply a bit too particular. Reflecting on the comment, Lewis noted that the last time he had heard that exact phrase was at Cynthia's final birthday party, nearly 1 year ago. A brief, quiet pause touched the table as the memory settled, but Linda offered a reassuring smile, gently assuring him that it was entirely all right to talk about those memories openly. At that moment, Linda's cousin, Claire Glover, walked up to the group with an airy smile. She greeted Lewis playfully as a stranger, though Lewis quickly pointed out with a smile that they had shared lunch just the previous week. Claire laughed softly, teasing him about whether she had forgotten to mention the house rules regarding hostesses socialized while on duty. Turning her attention to business, Claire noted the arrival of the Pittmans and asked Linda to guide them to the private dining room while she arranged the dinner service for the Cromwells. Before stepping away, Claire warmly requested that Lewis stay until she returned. As Claire moved off to attend to her duties, Lewis and Judge Royce exchanged polite greetings. The judge asked Lewis why he had been hiding away lately, mentioning that his friends missed his company. Lewis replied that he had not really been hiding, but rather keeping himself quite busy down at the community mental health clinic. He added softly that Cynthia's passing had not been easy for any of them, but they were all doing their best to move forward. Suddenly, a staff member approached the table to inform Judge Royce that there was an urgent telephone call waiting for her at the front desk. Excusing herself, the judge walked over to the receiver and lifted it to her ear, offering a polite greeting. A quiet, distorted voice spoke through the line, identifying itself as Cynthia and announcing that she had returned. Judge Royce froze, demanding to know who was calling. The voice on the line continued, stating that what the judge had done was very mean and that she hated her for it. The call abruptly disconnected. When Judge Royce returned to the table, her complexion was pale. Lewis and the surrounding guests immediately noticed her distress, asking what was wrong and remarking that she looked as though she had just seen a ghost. Trying to regain her composure, the judge dismissed the incident, explaining that it was merely another one of those strange telephone calls from someone claiming to be Cynthia. She shook her head, suggesting that it was simply the tasteless prank of some demented individual. However, the unsettling call clearly ruined the light mood. Deciding to call it an evening, Judge Royce announced her departure, quietly remarking that people simply would not let them forget the past. Lewis agreed softly, deciding that he too should say goodnight. He offered to drive the judge home, but Judge Royce warmly declined, noting that it was just a short walk and that she was not about to let a foolish telephone caller get the better of her. Exchanging pleasant goodnights with Willis and the rest of the staff, she stepped out into the cool night air. The following morning, The sun rose over the majestic mountain landscape. Barnaby Jones, a sharp and experienced private investigator, stood outside the local precinct enjoying the crisp air alongside Sheriff Martin Perry. Martin observed with a smile that the mountain air certainly seemed to agree with Barnaby. Barnaby chuckled in agreement, admitting that the only thing he disliked about the mountains was the cold, while the only thing he missed about the big city was having more opportunities to visit good friends. Their light conversation was interrupted as Claire Glover approached them. Barnaby greeted her politely, introducing himself and expressing his appreciation for her taking the time to speak with him. Claire mentioned that she had already shared everything she knew with Sheriff Perry, asking why a private investigator was continuing to look into matters when everyone else accepted that Judge Royce's recent passing was a tragic accident. Barnaby calmly explained that while he might eventually arrive at the exact same conclusion, another recent incident on Friday had left him somewhat puzzled. When Claire asked if he was referring to the tragic fall of Dr. Vincent Anderson while hiking in the mountains, Barnaby confirmed it. He noted that the insurance company had asked him to look into both cases. He mentioned that Dr. Anderson's receptionist had reported that the doctor received a strange telephone call just before his accident from a caller identifying herself as Cynthia Glover. Claire quickly dismissed the detail, suggesting that the receptionist must have heard incorrectly. Barnaby acknowledged the possibility, but gently pointed out how sinister the situation would appear if Judge Royce had also received a similar call prior to her death. He asked Claire if she was certain the judge had not mentioned anything about such a call. Claire maintained that if her cousin or the judge had received such a call, she would have been informed. She reminded Barnaby that Cynthia was dead, having been lost on the lake nearly a year ago after undergoing treatment with Dr. Anderson for emotional distress following a traumatic incident 2 years prior. Claire explained that as Cynthia's aunt and legal guardian, petitioning the court to have her committed to a proper treatment facility had been her only responsible choice. Barnaby nodded with genuine empathy, acknowledging the difficulty of the situation. However, he noted that his professional curiosity was naturally piqued given that Dr. Anderson had testified regarding Cynthia's condition. Judge Royce had signed the commitment order, and now both individuals had passed away within the span of a single week. Claire insisted firmly that it was nothing more than a tragic coincidence before excusing herself to meet her cousin Linda, who was waiting nearby. As Claire walked away, Sheriff Perry asked Barnaby if he wanted to see the exact location where Judge Royce's body had been discovered. Barnaby agreed, and the two men proceeded toward the scenic overlook near the lodge. Meanwhile, near the lodge grounds, Claire met with Dr. Lewis Manning. She expressed her growing concern, mentioning that the private detective named Jones had been asking questions and knew about the call received by Dr. Anderson. Lewis remained quiet, prompting Claire to urge him to stay focused. She stressed that they could not afford negative publicity for the resort town and needed to stick together. Lewis looked at her thoughtfully, asking if they should stick together in the same manner as when they all cooperated to have Cynthia committed. Claire gently asked Lewis to stop, acknowledging how deeply he had loved Cynthia and expressing her own sadness over the past. Lewis pondered aloud what would happen if Cynthia were actually still alive, noting that her body had never been recovered from the lake. Claire urged him not to panic himself or others with such speculation. Trying to soften the tension, Claire invited Lewis to join her at the lodge later that evening after closing time around 10 o'clock for a quiet dinner and a talk. Lewis agreed to try to make it and promised to call. A short time later, Barnaby strolled down toward the lakeside recreation area where Linda was supervising the pool. Observing her efficient management, Barnaby playfully joked that the lifeguard position appeared to be open if she was interested. Linda laughed warmly, complimenting Barnaby's charming humor and asking what specific information he was seeking. Barnaby appreciated her directness and asked about the telephone calls. Linda candidly admitted that Judge Royce had indeed received a call at the lodge on the night she died, purportedly from someone using the name Cynthia Glover. She suggested Barnaby speak directly with Claire for further details. Armed with this information, Barnaby returned to speak with Claire at her office. He politely noted that his investigation would proceed much more smoothly if all available facts were shared openly. Claire calmly explained that she had requested the detail about the telephone call be kept quiet simply to prevent unnecessary panic among local business owners and tourists. Barnaby gently pointed out that they might be dealing with a far more serious situation than a mere prankster. Their conversation was interrupted by a delivery driver bringing firewood to the lodge. Claire noticed the driver and remarked to her assistant that he was not the regular delivery person. Barnaby looked closely at the man unloading the wood and recognized him as Nelson Mosley, the individual previously convicted in connection with the incident involving Cynthia years ago. Barnaby approached Nelson, introducing himself as a private investigator and asking for a few moments of his time. Nelson responded defensively, stating that his past legal troubles were public record and that his history with Judge Royce and Dr. Anderson was long over. Barnaby informed him that the recent deaths were being examined very closely and inquired about Nelson's whereabouts during the times of the incidents. Nelson clearly stated that he had been in San Diego for the past week and had only driven into town the previous night, offering details that could be easily verified. He openly admitted his lingering resentment toward the judge and the doctor, claiming he had been unfairly convicted, but firmly denied any involvement in their deaths or in making any telephone calls. Nelson mentioned that his former boss had offered him an honest job upon his parole, and he was simply trying to earn a living. He also mentioned that Lewis Manning had been present during the original incident years ago. Later that afternoon, Lewis Manning was resting in a quiet garden gazebo near the clinic when Linda Glover approached him quietly. She was wearing an elegant vintage dress that mirrored Cynthia's former style. Lewis was startled, initially calling out Cynthia's name before realizing it was Linda. Linda asked softly if he liked her dress and if he thought it made her look pretty. Lewis expressed his confusion and frustration, asking what she was trying to accomplish. Linda confessed her deep affection for him, expressing her desire for him to move past the memory of Cynthia and realize that there were other people who cared for him in the present. Claire arrived moments later, intervening in the emotional scene and sternly telling Linda to leave Lewis alone. Linda reacted emotionally before walking away, leaving Lewis to apologize to Claire for the disturbance. Barnaby approached Lewis shortly after Linda departed, introducing himself properly. Lewis recognized his name and confirmed that he had left the lodge around the same time as Judge Royce on the night of her passing. Barnaby asked if Lewis could share a bit more about Cynthia to help him understand the background of the case. Lewis pulled out a cherished photograph taken a couple of days before the tragedy, describing Cynthia's beauty and gentle nature. He recalled the painful events of the past, explaining how deeply traumatized Cynthia had been and how he had strongly opposed having her committed, believing her condition was a temporary reaction to trauma that could be healed with proper care and patience. However, Dr. Anderson and Judge Royce had proceeded with a commitment order, leading to the tragic night Cynthia vanished on the lake. Returning to his local office, Barnaby placed a phone call to his trusted associates, Jedediah and Betty Jones. Jedediah answered playfully, and Barnaby asked him to have Betty retrieve the official medical and court records regarding Cynthia Glover's commitment from the county courthouse. Jedediah promised to handle the request immediately, lightheartedly offering to bring extra support to the mountain town if needed. That evening, as closing time approached at the lodge, the front desk telephone rang. The staff member answered and informed Claire that a call had arrived for her. Claire assumed it was Lewis calling about their dinner plans and walked over to take the call, telling the staff to ensure the front door remained unlocked for Lewis before they departed for the night. Claire lifted the receiver and spoke a greeting. A quiet, familiar voice answered, identifying itself as Cynthia. Claire gasped, asking who was on the line. The voice expressed deep sorrow, saying that if only she could talk to Claire one more time, she would tell her how sorry she was for all the mean things that had been said in the past. The following morning, Sheriff Perry and Barnaby stood inside the lodge office alongside Lewis Manning. A tragic scene had unfolded overnight. Claire Glover had been found deceased inside the office, struck by a heavy decorative pot. Sheriff Perry noted that the victim's wristwatch had stopped at 5 minutes past 10, indicating the approximate time of the incident. Lewis explained that he had been delayed at the clinic and had tried calling the lodge around that time to cancel dinner, but received no answer. The staff member confirmed that Claire had received a telephone call just before 10 o'clock, which she had believed was from Lewis, though the caller's voice sounded like a woman's. Sheriff Perry retrieved a small silver item found on the floor near the scene, engraved with the initials CLG, standing for Cynthia Lynn Glover. Barnaby examined the surroundings carefully, while Sheriff Perry noted that someone appeared to be deliberately attempting to create the impression that a ghost or a long-lost individual was responsible for these events. Shortly afterward, Nelson Mosley was located near the property by Lewis Manning. An intense argument ensued between the two men regarding the events of the past. Nelson passionately maintained his innocence regarding the original crime, explaining that on the night of the party years ago, Cynthia had been acting extremely erratic and distressed before running into the garden. He insisted that he had not initiated any improper behavior and that the entire situation had been tragically misunderstood by everyone involved. Lewis listened intently, the dramatic revelation shedding a new light on the immense emotional strain Cynthia had been under during that period. Nelson reaffirmed that he had served his time, had no reason to lie, and simply wanted to live an honest life. Barnaby continued his methodical investigation, gathering evidence from various locations, including a public telephone booth located near the lodge. He coordinated with Betty Jones, who arrived with the detailed medical records from the courthouse. Reviewing the comprehensive psychological profiles and physical evaluations conducted years ago by specialists, Barnaby noted several key details that did not align with the official narrative of Cynthia's total loss at Lake. Seeking further clarification, Barnaby and Betty traveled to a secluded mountain cabin owned by Dr. Lewis Manning, located several miles outside of town. Upon arrival, Barnaby observed that the property featured heavy iron security bars installed on the windows. Looking closer, Barnaby pointed out a crucial detail to Betty. The security bars were mounted on the inside of the window frames rather than the outside, indicating they were designed not to keep intruders out, but to keep someone safely contained within. Finding the front door unlocked due to a damaged latch mechanism, Barnaby and Betty stepped inside the warmly furnished cabin. To their surprise, they encountered Dr. Lewis Manning, who reacted defensively to their presence. Barnaby calmly assured Lewis that they meant no harm, explaining that the evidence gathered, including matching fingerprint patterns from the nearby telephone booth and the unique architectural modifications of the cabin, clearly revealed the truth. Lewis sat down heavily, his defensive demeanor melting away into deep emotional vulnerability. He admitted that on the night Cynthia had taken the boat out onto the lake nearly a year ago, he had followed her and managed to rescue her safely from the water. Knowing how terrified she was of being placed in an institution, he had brought her to his private cabin, devoting all his personal time and professional care to helping her recover in a peaceful, secure environment. He explained that her mental state had been steadily improving every single day, and she was gradually returning to the gentle, happy person she had once been. However, Lewis revealed that on the previous Friday, while he was away at the clinic, Cynthia had accidentally discovered news reports indicating that Nelson Mosley had been paroled and had returned to the area. The sudden shock had triggered a severe emotional relapse, causing her to break through the cabin door lock in a confused state, seeking out the individuals associated with her past trauma. Understanding the urgency of the situation, Barnaby and Lewis immediately coordinated with Sheriff Perry to locate Cynthia safely before any further harm could occur. They found her near the peaceful lakeside grove, visibly overwhelmed and confused. Barnaby and Lewis approached her with immense gentleness, speaking in calm, reassuring tones. Barnaby gently assured her that she was completely safe, that no one was going to harm her or lock her away, and that proper, compassionate help was available for her. Cynthia looked at Lewis and Barnaby, her frantic expression gradually giving way to a sense of profound relief as she realized she was surrounded by people who genuinely cared for her well-being. A short time later, medical personnel and supportive care professionals arrived at the scene, ensuring Cynthia received the immediate, gentle medical attention and emotional support she required. Sheriff Perry acknowledged the complex legal and human aspects of the case, noting that while Lewis would need to address his actions with the legal authorities, the primary focus remained on ensuring full care and healing for everyone affected. As the afternoon sun cast a warm, golden glow over the tranquil mountain lake, Barnaby Jones stood on the lodge balcony beside Sheriff Perry and his colleagues. The atmosphere in the town had shifted from suspicion and fear to clarity, understanding, and hope. Barnaby smiled thoughtfully, observing that Cynthia was finally in the right hands and receiving the true care she deserved, offering the best possible path toward a bright, peaceful, and healthy future for all.